right.
Trump's. Eric Yankelevich is back, and
Thank you, Zhana.
no, thank you for coming, Eric. I really enjoyed talking to you, especially because everybody is interested in what's happening
Absolutely.
in the mortgage world.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Feelings are mutual.
Okay, so let's start. What's new?
What's new? Well, we have seen over the last little while a little more stability in terms of where the rates have been at. We've seen some swings in rates where most recently they've come down. Before that, they went up, and COVID they came down, and then they went up again. We have seen some stability, which stability is actually a very good component of mortgage lending because it allows buyers to make decisions, make educated decisions, and not make decisions on a rush. Before we saw a lot of borrowers or buyers making rash decisions and buying because rates are going up, we got to get in, or rates are going down, let's time the market to catch the bottom. You can never really do that. There's obviously those people that are lucky and that they will be able to time it. So stability in the rate environment is good because you have a lot of borrowers that can now make a decision to purchase, and they can do so with the confidence knowing of what the assurance of what the rate will be. So they're not panicking or worried about that. So I think that's been really over the last little while, some more stability in terms of the rate environment. We have seen, obviously, we still have variables that are impacting the rates and buyers' decisions to purchase. Those being, of course, the tariffs in the U.S. The war in the Middle East is now something that's playing in a little bit here in Canada. The other thing we have is also the inflation numbers and unemployment numbers. And we have seen that the unemployment has been ticking up a little bit, and there is a suggestion that there could be some downward pressure on rates at the next meeting. So, it's important though that buyers recognize that it'll be small changes here or there, but for the most part, it's been quite stable.
So, what do you see in number of transactions? Is it less number of transactions? Mm-hmm. Is it the same as it was last year, the year before?
I would say we're busier. We're probably on the purchase side up about 25-30% right now for year
Compared to what?
Compared to last year, yeah.
Last year.
A lot of that is buyers that were on the sidelines because we'll be on the sidelines for so long. Mm-hmm. If you've got to downsize because you're retired, it's only a certain point you have to be able to do that. There is more inventory as well in the market, so it does give buyers more of it's more of a buyer's market than it would be a seller's because there is good inventory there. So we have seen there's been good deals that they're pouncing on. So we have seen an uptick, especially in the 1.2 to like $800,000 range. We've seen a lot more activity in that range, in that sweet spot.
Well, that's kind of explanatory, right? It's easier to buy something cheaper than
yeah, for sure.
something that costs a lot of money. What kind of transactions you have most? Is it purchase transaction or refinance transaction?
Right. So we're doing a lot more purchases right now. Which is a good sign. Also because it's the time of the year. It's the spring, summer market, so you really see people now making decisions about moving, and in this time of the year, over the past few months, they want to be in place for the beginning of the school year. My kids are older, so it doesn't affect us, but you know what I mean? They want to be in that right school district and be settled in for September. The other thing we're seeing is a lot of borrowers come up for renewal. So not necessarily that they want to refinance and take equity out of the properties, but their mortgages are coming up for renewal. So they are shopping around more than they may have been in the past.
Yeah, because the interest rate is higher.
Correct. So they're looking for better rates. So we have seen more inquiries related to mortgage renewals and also to purchases, for sure.
Interesting. Pre-construction. Do you deal with pre-construction units, and what is happening over there?
So yes, we do deal with pre-construction. The challenge has been obviously the values, like the condo market has softened somewhat in the GTA. So as such, condos that might have been purchased at the peak of the market, which would have been 2021, 2022.
Even 2019, 2018, the prices were. So are you saying that the appraisal reports are coming lower than the purchase?
So in some cases, yes, appraised values are not supporting the original purchase prices. So that would require a buyer to put more down payment down to bridge that gap. It has happened on some occasions. and unfortunately, it's just a function of what's happened in the overall market. We do, with confidence, believe that will eventually correct itself. It might take a little bit of time, but at the current time, yeah, there have been instances where
I like your positivity, because when I search through YouTube different videos and different mortgage brokers, they're like, oh my God, what's going on? The condo market is crashing. The condo market is in a bad situation. This and that. Is it tough?
So I mean, it is a challenge for sure. I wouldn't be naive about that. But I think the key that investors and purchasers have to remember is that the GTA is still, and immigration still comes into the GTA.
Yeah, I believe someone said, again from YouTube, that last year, even though the government said that we will not be letting so many immigrants in anymore, but last year we had 850,000 people coming to, and most of them are coming to Ontario and BC.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're addicted to that. Like, that's how the economy is fueled. The micro condos, I think, are a little more challenging. Like the under 500 square feet, the bachelors, I think those are more difficult. But I mean, the 2-bedroom that was purchased, maybe 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom especially, like, you can stay there longer. So I think that's more appealing for somebody. But I think a lot of those micro condos that were sold, those are under stress a little bit, the under 500.
So do you see very often when the appraisal report comes lower than the purchase price? A lot, right?
Yeah, it's happening more than we'd like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And you have a solution for this type of situation.
Well, I mean, the key there is they have to be able to put more money down. So we do have a solution that, because they have to bridge that gap between the appraised value and the purchase price. So some lenders will require them to put more down payment down. The other thing is we also operate a mortgage fund called King Capital Mortgage Investment Corporation. And what we'll do sometimes is we'll cross-collateralize that property. So let's say they own a home in Vaughan, just to pick on Vaughan. They own a home in Vaughan and they've got good equity there, but they bought a condo downtown for their kid who's going to U of T to learn for the year. Appraised value comes in, it's a little bit under, they don't have access to the cash. We can sometimes either refinance their current home, take some extra money out, or we can offer them a private mortgage to cross-collateralize that. So that way they're able to close the property. But we do have creative ways of making sure that deal gets done, for sure.
So you answered my next question, how difficult it is to close the pre-construction. So there are different kinds of solutions how to help.
I mean, in my case, I haven't seen anybody not close.
So what do you think is going to be happening with the condo market in the future? Do you think it's going to go up in value?
Yeah, I think it'll recover for sure. Also important to note too that there's not a lot of inventory coming on because of the last 24 months. So with that being said, there's not a plethora of like construction going on in the city right now. It's kind of like subsided a little bit, in part due to the supply and demand, but also in part because the cost of construction has gone up as well, and the cost of funds and the tariffs and aluminum, and it's a whole other story that's going on. So in that situation, and in that case, I do believe that the values will eventually recover and will hold. And I always tell everybody, when it comes to real estate, I don't know, 10 years ago, people got lucky buying and selling and flipping paper. I'm not going to close and I'm going to flip it. I'm going to make 200,000. That's not happening anymore. Like, those people got lucky. But if you always got the patience to hold in real estate, you're always going to do well.
Yeah, real estate needs time. Yeah.
Right. So my suggestion is, if you're going to buy something, maybe it's better to just buy something that you see yourself growing into, or that you really believe is going to be a good investment, as opposed to like buying, well, I'm not going to close it, I'm just going to flip it and I'm going to make and I'm going to do. That's not really what's happening at this time.
I agree. Do you deal with other provinces? Do you close deals in other provinces like Alberta and BC?
So
the
yes,
will be different, or it will be the same process?
So we are licensed in other jurisdictions, including BC and Alberta. Generally speaking, there maybe are some slight variances. Like even in Ontario, going to Northern Ontario, they might be a little more conservative. But in the major urban centers, it's pretty much the same, no matter what the lender is.
So you answered my next question. Any differences?
No, it's pretty much standard across the board, like right now.
Eric, pull out your crystal ball. Tell us what to expect. Is the mortgage interest rate going to go down? Is it going to be up? What is happening?
So right now, I am recommending borrowers can strongly consider a variable rate mortgage.
Oh.
That is because I believe that rates are on the downward trend. I mean, the Bank of Canada, I expect, will probably look at reducing rates a little bit. I mean, there's so many unknowns with the U.S. tariffs right now. I think unemployment numbers are a little bit higher. I know that the job market's a little bit tighter as well, and that will drive the rates to come down a little bit. So variable rates, I believe, are the way to go because we are in a downward trend. The other thing about a variable rate is you can always lock into a fixed rate at any time. So it does give you some enhanced flexibility when it comes to that. But everybody's decision has to be a decision that meets their needs. Some people like to know the certainty of what their payment's going to be every month. That's just the way they're wired. Some other people are maybe they're more sophisticated. Maybe it's not their first home that they've owned. And they kind of understand the mortgage market and the real estate market a little more. So they might be better off going with a variable rate. So it's important when you're choosing a mortgage product to really consult with your mortgage professional, so that way they'll be able to guide you, just like me. To be able to guide you, to be able to make the right decision for you and your family at that time, because it's not one universal strategy. It depends on a couple of factors, and mortgage professionals like myself can really help you direct that.
The personal situation is very important.
Absolutely. Is it an investment property? Are you retiring? Are you looking to sell? First-time home buyer? Are you a nervous Nelly and you want to make sure that you have the confidence in the payment? All those factors come into play.
When is the next mortgage interest review?
Stop. I'm not sure.
I think it's in July.
I think it's July. Yeah. So
July.
let's take that again. Okay. Okay. Go ahead. Ask it again.
When is the next review of the mortgage interest rate?
I believe Bank Canada is meeting mid-July.
Okay. So what do you think is going to happen?
I think they might just hold it for one more session. I think they might just keep it pat right now.
Yeah.
The numbers coming out have been okay. Like the unemployment numbers are a little bit, but I'm not sure what the warrant or rate
So
cut.
those optimistic predictions that the rate is going to go down this year is not going to happen.
Yeah, we still have 6 months left of the year. So I mean,
Okay.
7 months left, like 4 months, 5 months left, right? So yeah, I believe that they will continue to. But also I think what they're concerned about is during COVID, they just cut the rate so fast.
Yeah.
And then they had to increase the rate after COVID.
Too fast.
Right, and those swings are not good. So I'm more on the cautious side, that it's better to maybe cut the rates slowly, as opposed to like one big jumbo cut. So that way we're not suddenly forced to say, oh, now we've got to increase the rate. Like I think that would be more damaging. Also, by reducing the rate as well, remember the Canadian dollar becomes weaker against the US dollar. And that affects exports, and it affects when we import products from the US, we're paying more for that as well, which is somewhat inflationary. So it's important that I think they proceed with caution before they kind of just decide to cut rates. So I believe they're probably going to hold steady in July.
So I'm done with my questions. But do you have anything that you want to share with, or say something, or anything?
Just an overall comment, like to the viewers. Like I think it's really it's great that you're able to provide these type of services and these videos and this content to potential home buyers. And I think it's really important that they see the value in being able to have access to professionals like yourself on the real estate side, myself on the mortgage side. And don't be afraid to reach out. I mean, there's no dumb questions, as we say in our industry, right?
What is your phone number?
416-451-5704.
And my number is 416-949-6495.
Right. If there's any questions, you can contact us by YouTube,
Yeah,
contact
we'll be happy to
Zhana or
help.
me, and be happy to help you out.